Thanks for the fantastic intro and welcome to everybody. I want to talk about happiness and I want to talk about safety. And the first bit's up to you. I want you all to relax, cast your minds back as far as you need to go to think about when you felt the most safe and the most happy. Me, like probably many of you, I go back to childhood and I'm thinking about sitting on the back seat, lying down on the back seat probably, of mum and dad's Volkswagen Beetle. We're driving home at night after a dinner party or some such, and the lights are going by. I'm listening to their conversation and I'm about to pretend to be asleep in the hopes that they'll play along with the charade and they'll pick me up and carry me to bed. But what if you never knew your parents? What if the closest thing you had to a family was a succession of 30 group homes and foster homes by the time of your 18th birthday? And what if some of the people who were supposed to support and protect you instead neglected or even abused you? And what if your first memory of feeling really happy and feeling really safe was the result of a powder from a mate's mate at a party? Now, we all know that that is not the recipe for a happy life. Yes, mental ill health can happen to absolutely anyone. It can happen to me, it can happen to you, it can happen to anyone you know. But decades-long mental illness and addiction has a distressingly common trajectory. Childhood trauma, lack of bonding, social isolation, early school leaving, drug use, homelessness, perhaps crime, and perhaps incarceration. So as a therapeutic organisation, how do we begin to tackle the almost intractable problem when so many deficits appear in one person's life and they interact in a negative way and make it almost impossible to have a happy and normal life? Well, at FirstStep, we aim for incremental whole-of-life improvements. This is about getting small wins across all aspects of a person's life that positively reinforce each other and create a pathway to recovery. FirstStep uniquely provides all the support a person wants and needs from one team in one place and for free. And that is an amazing multidisciplinary team. That's a multidisciplinary task force that harnesses the awe-inspiring resilience of the people that we seek to help. And it goes a bit like this. Tom was just 23 when he was referred to FirstStep from our friends at Alfred Health Psychiatry from the hospital. He was still quite psychotic and he was homeless. Roz at reception at FirstStep knew to look out for Tom, and when he arrived, she gently led him down the corridor to meet with mental health nurse Jo. Now, Jo, assisted by care coordinator Kim, quickly made Tom feel at home and asked him how they could help. Now, Jo and Kim are very good at this work, and they quickly ascertained that in addition to the psychosis and the homelessness, Tom had no family, no income, precious few friends, a long-term heroin addiction, and almost certain childhood trauma. He was a young man on the precipice. Now, both Jo and Kim know that if they let Tom go today without earning his trust just a little bit, without getting some quick wins, if they refer him to another service at another time in another suburb, if they move him on or let him leave empty-handed, they will lose him. So, Jo continues mental health triage leading to treatment. Kim immediately secures 2 weeks of emergency housing, and then she does a medical records review. And she quickly determines that Tom has previously been well stabilised on methadone. So Kim walks 7 steps with Tom across the hallway to one of the most passionate and skilled GPs in this area of medicine, Dr. Peter Wright. So now Tom has a team of 3 at FirstStep: Jo, Kim, and Peter. And soon he'll be stable on that medication and not actively drug seeking. couple of weeks later, Tom's exercising every day with support from his psychosocial worker, Loris. That's a team of 4. And then a couple of weeks after that, Tom mentions, almost in passing to Kim, something about a court date coming up. Well, it turns out that this is actually a very serious criminal law matter around burglary and drug possession, and it's very likely to see Tom go to prison. So Kim gets out in that corridor again, and she walks just a little bit further, and she makes it to FirstStep Legal. Now, FirstStep Legal is the only criminal law practice fully embedded, built into a health practice anywhere in this country. It shouldn't be, but it is. Now, we know that if Tom goes to prison at this point, he will lose all connection with the clinic and will undo that therapeutic relationship and the stabilisation that's taken place. But with the collaboration, they managed to achieve a non-custodial sentence for Tom. He stays out of prison and in treatment for his mental health, his addiction, and his psychosocial well-being. So Kim doesn't drop a beat. She immediately organises driving lessons for Tom, which FirstStep's able to pay for, and helps him to navigate the TAFE system so that he can roll into carpentry. Turns out the kid's great with his hands. Fast forward a little bit, and Tom walks into FirstStep 9 months after the first time he arrived. He's got a big goofy grin on his face. Now, half the staff know why he's here today. Roz sees him again at reception and just kind of points that way with his thumb, and he wanders down and he goes to see Joe and Kim. Peter steps out of the session he's having with someone else, and they all shake his hand, and maybe there's a hug exchanged, because Tom has just finished the first day of his apprenticeship in carpentry. Now, we're not home and hosed with Tom, but the transformation is extraordinary. Physically, Tom is almost unrecognisable. He's fit and strong, he's standing tall, he's looking you straight in the eyes, he's shaking your hand, and he's telling you his mind. And in that spirit, he takes me aside and he says, Patrick, FirstStep is the first family that I've ever had. So Tom is safe, and for the moment at least, Tom is happy. So the almost intractable problem that was Tom's early life was met with skill, compassion, enormous resilience, and teamwork. It's the fact that Tom could get all the support he wanted and needed from one team in one place, and yeah, for free. Tom and that team achieved the incremental whole of life improvements, and Tom is thriving precisely because the team considered all the moving parts all the time. The team collaborated together, face to face, like we would be meeting today if we could. Because that's the way you tackle any almost intractable problem. You get the stakeholders together with the experts, and you meet as often and as long as it bloody well takes, and you collaborate. And what's the glue for that collaboration? Some of you are probably shouting, it's Kim, it's Kim. Yeah, you're right. It's the care coordinator. Planning, implementing, organising, searching, comforting, cajoling, reminding, and doing it all again. We currently have capacity at FirstStep for the most vulnerable 200 of our 2,500 clients to have individual care coordinator support. With your support tonight, we hope to increase that number by 50% to 300 people. Every $200 donated to FirstStep tonight will provide a month of care coordinator support to another vulnerable individual, another person on the precipice. At FirstStep, we believe that everybody deserves every chance to turn their lives around. With your help tonight, we can make that vision a reality for many more people who so desperately deserve that chance. Please do it for Tom and thousands more like him. Thank you.